Hey, good evening. We're going into the Englewood City Council meeting. We, as in myself and you. David, Raymond, Clinton, Lou Scott, always good to see you. Hey, Kentucky girl. Leonard, what's happening? Hi, Jeffrey. Irish Rover, good evening. How are you? How is everyone tonight?
Hi, how are you? Welcome in. Thank you. Of course.
Chris, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. How was your day?
Oh,
Wet and rainy?
no, I just rested up.
Good for you.
Are you laughing?
I am. And I'm with this phone that I wasn't able to fully charge, and I don't have my power bank because we haven't had power for 2 hours. So,
You better save some for it in there.
well, it should be fine. It should be fine. I don't like to come in here without at least some video documentation, and I think it's best to live stream. So, I think I'll be all right.
I wish you had been around when we first started a couple years ago. You could have live streamed it.
Oh, I was around. I just wasn't here.
Right. That's what I mean. Because when I first started coming here, and me and my buddies, that's why they have the metal detectors.
Uh-huh. Of course.
It was like
Because you're scary. How are you? How are things going?
Good.
Are they?
We got enough signatures.
Right
It's
on.
official. It's official. That's why I'm here today.
Wow.
I'm excited to hear what you got to say. Yeah, I talked to you when you had verified that you had enough signatures. So, yeah, you're not having any problems out there, though, right?
Oh, no.
Right? Good.
No. We're gonna go this way. Let's go in.
So they're in a study session over here.
Yeah, we got a few things.
Meeting
This is
starts
the
at
wrong
7.
one.
We didn't officially meet, but I was upstairs when you guys had come out of the clerk's office or whatever. I'm Regan.
Yeah, it's the.
Nice to meet you. Good job, guys. Seriously.
Thank you.
Good job. Chris, I want to go check this out for just a minute. So they are in a study session. Hey, the regular meeting starts at 7 o'clock. Hey, I shared a really interesting story with my mods earlier, and it has to do with the city councilor by the name of Cheryl Wink, who are some of these fine folks that I was just talking to have started a recall, and she gave quite some ammunition to the press. And it's a fascinating story. She's got a problem with showing up, and they want her recalled. So they might have that link to put in here. I would encourage you guys to go read it. It is absolutely fascinating. I don't know why my focus is going in and out. Rain Nation, good to see you here again. Yeah, Bokomo, she just posted the link. It's a great read. It has to do with really the drama that is the city council here in Englewood. So they're currently in their study session in this room. They'll move out of there and into the council chambers for the regular meeting starting at 7 o'clock. Hey, E-Man, how you doing? So I think I have some raindrops on my camera, so just a second. Because once again, it's raining. E-man, yeah, their notifications aren't going to go out like they normally would. This is my second live stream of the day. Oh, you're 2 digits over posting, Amanda? What's up with that? That's interesting. Bokomo was able to post it. I'm not sure, Amanda, what might be happening with your settings on your end as a mod. Oh, dope dog. I'm going rogue. I will be very defensive of my freedoms and watch out for my free speech because it is not designed to care for your feelings. I like that. Modern Retro Radio, how are you? Thanks for being in here. So it'll probably be a boring stream, but one never knows, right? I mean, Dope Dog, if you want to talk at City Council, you can still try to go sign up through the Zoom link. You can provide public comment through Zoom. Angry Vet, you're not going to get any work done, huh? Yeah, my streams usually aren't all that boring. Sometimes they are. My public comment tonight will entail me winging it.
What's the right council of South Broadway in Englewood? Is that still open? Yes. Okay, thank you. Curious about that. I know time.
Yes, it is, and I will say that, we have, so I can't remember how many offices that we have across the county, but, that is one of their core offices that they have on South Broadway. You're County 5. I will say that we are doing a space study right now, as I'm sure you all have maybe potentially been doing with your buildings because of the change in workforce and how we do work in Arapahoe County. So that's something that we're continually monitoring as far as how much space we actually need to do the work that we have. We only lease a few of our buildings. We own most of our buildings, so some of that evaluation is kind of happening as you guys are going along here. And I think that, if I remember correctly, Commissioner, we're seeing that in a couple weeks, maybe from our conversation on our calendar today, so.
No problem, go ahead. Thank you, and I have a question. This is not on the agenda, but I think probably you have jurisdiction over this. A citizen brought this up 3 or 4 months ago about the percent of registered voters in the city of Englewood, and did some calculations here. According to the 2020 census, population is 33,659. It came down by subtracting non-citizens and taking out people under 18, that Englewood had eligible people registered to vote is 27,127 people. Of that, 26,091 are registered. There is no way, because what the percentage of non-registered voters in Englewood would be 3.82%. The percentage in Colorado of non-registered is 27.15, but the national average is 30%. So I don't know why.
Excuse me. Is
Yeah,
this the Englewood
that's-
Arts?
That's the City Council meeting
that's
study
City Council.
session.
Okay.
It'll end here shortly, and then they'll
Okay.
move into,
This, you know, Eric Bertoluzzi with the Englewood Arts
I don't.
Council?
But if it involves the regular City Council meeting, it'll be in there at 7 o'clock.
I just
was looking for the Englewood Arts.
Oh
I'm not
boy,
sure what.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sorry.
That's all good.
I'm gonna go grab my water. How are you? We got Alex, the little dick, sitting in the chair tonight.
I knew that.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Are
Good
you
to see
coming
you.
to the party?
I am. I'm always down for a party with government.
I'm glad you are.
I am down for a.
Just tired.
I'll bet you are. It's been a full-time job for you. Yeah, I know. So that gang is all here again. I love those people. They're redressing them hard. I need to get my water though. And my glasses are getting wet. Camera's getting wet. Was that necessary? Puddles galore. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So, gotta go through security. I'm not all that excited to do that right at this point because I'm gonna need to use the restroom.
Knives or pepper spray in your bag. Knives, pepper spray.
Thank you very much.
Just watching those security procedures this evening to see what we're going to be dealing with. So, what this study session is entailing is there are Arapahoe County commissioners here reporting on who knows what. One of the last things that council member was asking about was voter registration. There's also a lot of conversation here about, there being nefarious activity in voter registrations. No way. Not in the US voting system. Elections aren't rigged.
To continue to maintain the types of services that we've had. This is an issue that's been we've been looking at for quite a long time. However, when we started receiving ARPA dollars, some of those issues we've really been able to start addressing. So for example, homelessness, our homelessness coordinating committee and the work that we're doing with our navigation, housing navigators and things like that. Those are funded by ARPA dollars, and we have found them to be incredibly successful. But once those ARPA dollar goes away, we are not going to have the sustainable funding to be able to continue that work. So we have been recognizing this pressure, and we're wanting to talk and have a conversation with our voters, and have been doing some polling around either there's a couple of different things that we've looked at. One of them being that we would come out from under the constraints of Tabor, and we have also looked at sales tax as well. So we want to recognize that we understand these are interesting conversations to be having, particularly this year, but we need to make sure that we're addressing them, or we're just not going to be able to provide the services that we have. So we're happy to continue that conversation with you all. I'll see if Commissioner Campbell wants to add anything to that.
Well, I would just say, part of why we're looking at both is we did a poll in August, and before I got on, and we found two kind of buckets of needs, right? There were people who feel traditional infrastructure is priority, and we pay for that, and that needs to be there. It matches with the need that we're seeing. 40% of our roads are at poor, very poor condition, which, as all of us city kind of infrastructure wonks, we know once it gets to a deleterious point, it's 10 times more expensive to fix it than if we had been able to keep it at a certain level, right? So we're facing a real precipice and cliff with that. Alone, we need $15 million more annually to be able to keep up with our infrastructure assets, just current, to maintain. And we need that, I think, projected out for at least 19, 20 years. The second bucket of what we saw when residents were responding to what are the needs in the county, what's going on, what do you see the problems in the county, was the other bucket, which is all housing, homelessness, substance abuse, mental health, that whole bucket, where we've been able to use ARPA funds to adjust and stand up programs that are very much deeply needed. So part of why we're looking at multiple avenues here is because we need multiple streams of funding to solve our issues. We've got the basic kind of infrastructure stuff, but then we've got the problems that we've all been seeing increasing in this county. And we obviously, I think all collectively decided we need to address these issues. These are issues that are coming up that our residents are struggling with. And it is our job as representatives to meet those needs. And so that's why we're chewing on two different possibilities, and we're kind of the same thing as we shall see that what we decide to do, but the need is absolutely there, and we feel like it is relationships with constituents or relationships with anybody, right? What I can do is tell you what my need is, and you can decide whether you want to meet that need or not. What's interesting about obviously Colorado is we're kind of saying, you have this need, tell us that there's this back and forth where then it's like, yeah, I'll pay for that or not. And so I think that's where polling is very helpful in those engagement surveys. But at a certain point, you have to say, we also know where we are as a county, and we have to
Talk in circles. Talk in circles.
Similar sort of place, yeah.
Dominic, do you have something to add, or am I still on?
I have a question, but I can talk if there's anything else from the county on that. That's super helpful. Thank you for letting us know. As a quick follow-up to that, do you know the last time the county asked voters for a sales tax?
1995. We've renewed it, I think, 2 times. The last time that it was renewed was 2019, and that's when we made it permanent. That's I think, sorry, 2021. Fall of 2021 was the open space, was when we made open space sales tax. And it's it's just that, and in doing our research, we learned that we are second to Well in the lowest. Well is the only county that has 0 sales tax, and we are second lowest in the state with 0.25, or at least in the grouping. Yeah. Okay.
Have you ever tried to do risk before? our staff do a great job of staying in touch with the county, but to the mayor's point earlier, if there's better ways for us to be sharing information, to be partnering with all peers, especially if there's other examples from the municipalities about how you're doing that partnership, and then look forward to working together.
Sure.
So I think we talked about that coordination piece, and I know we've been talking about kind of that task force and how the staff work together. One thing I also wanted to say, the conversations going forward, because I do think that we had excellent collaboration across the conversation around 213, just to respond to Councilmember Russell's comment about being home rule and your own residents having their preferences and all of that. I think we, as much as anybody else, during the conversation around 213, took a lot of umbrage to a larger force telling us what we are supposed to do, and I think we will see
And
us
she's
be
still talking
partners with
circles.
you and saying, choose your own adventure, right? However, we do have mixes in, as you push on the bubble over here, it comes up over here, and so, there's a lot, what works for you all is what will work for you all, where you all can get agreement and get your votes is what that will be. Again, in a relationship, the best thing you can say is, here's what we feel like we need, how can we work together, right? And then whether you all meet that need or say, this is our need and this is our perception of the thing, what we wanna do. One of the things I thought was interesting from the CCI.
Somebody cut her
conference is
off.
there were also some of those Prop 123 dollars don't necessarily need to go to density, they can go to housing for ownership as long as it's affordable, right? So we can partnership in projects in a variety of ways without you feeling like we're forcing something on you that you all aren't ready for.
Member Russell, last question, and we'll
Okay, so
wrap up.
this is just kind of a question for you. How much pressure does it put on you and on the open space funds when developers in Englewood always don't provide the open space that we need when they add more density and we need more parks? So how does that put more stress by us not holding their feet to the fire and getting park and loop fees instead of actual park space? Does that put a lot of stress on the open space funds?
I will say, I am new, I just like to deliver. So I want to answer that in a way that may not be exactly kind of what you're thinking about, because I don't know, and that's a great question for Director Carter, who is the Director of Open Space and all of that. What I would say is, one of the things that we're looking at in the county is how do we get development to pay for itself, right? I also seem to find that density can create open space, right? We preserve open space technically. However, it may not be developed into a park, but that's where that phrase that I said earlier, healthy communities. If you Google healthy communities, it talks about walkability, livability, to access to parks, school, work, home, all within a certain jurisdiction. And if you all look at that model and you say, okay, we want, right, developer, you're offering density, but we want parks. That's a kind of a model or framework to investigate that might be interesting. But I think we've struggled with that same issue, but more as it pertains to roads, and how do we get development to pay for itself? So if for you a trade-off is parks versus density, you're willing to sort of negotiate on that as long as there's parks. I think us having a regional approach to making development pay for itself will let developers know that we're all unified in this, so they can't cherry pick around, well, we'll put this over here because we'll get a better deal in Englewood, or we'll get a better deal over here in Aurora. It's like, no, we're all unified, and what we need in development needs to pay for itself. We recognize that, and if you do X, Y, Z types of development, that we've all then set our goals, there's incentives to that, right? So maybe not exactly, but we face a similar problem and a different way.
Okay, thank you very much, that's all.
I appreciate it. So we have to get to the people's business,
Yeah.
but Commissioner Campbell Swanson, Commissioner Warren Gooley, Ms. Halsted, and Ms. Smith, thank you very much for the continued partnership and the dialogue tonight. So really appreciate you guys taking it to our seats today. All right. And with that, we will go over to the next room, and do we need a break, or can we just go ahead and just get the meeting started? 5 minutes. We're gonna take a 5-minute break, and we don't have a technical timeout anyway, so. There we go. Thank you very much.
So that complete and total bimbo that was speaking She's an elected county commissioner in Arapahoe County. Her and the other woman over there talking to the city manager, Sean, who was talking about circumventing Tabor once again. You've heard me talk about Tabor before, the taxpayer's Bill of Rights. In the state of Colorado, we amended our state constitution to tell government that they need to ask the voters for a tax increase. And the Democrats single-handedly, it's completely on partisan lines, have circumvented Tabor any possible way they can by fees and other tax increases, if you will. That's why you heard them, of course, talk about the ever so important topic of what a great job we're doing with our resources on homelessness. You were just elected in November. Do you have a card by chance?
Yes. And what's your name?
My name is Regan.
Regan, nice to
Regan.
meet you.
It's Regan. Long E. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Jessica Campbell Swanson.
Nice to meet you, Jessica.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I just dropped in and looked at it just now when you came by. Yeah.
No,
It's like a waterfall. Okay. But how come it's not here? Yeah, but why is it not here?
Thanks so much. Between your work and the Broadway work, there's a lot of work. All three cities, and the county, and on the Broadway study.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
thank
Take
you.
care.
We'll see you.
Thanks so much.
Hi, Commissioner. Do you have a card? I'm sorry. I just
Yeah,
wanted your
I
card.
do.
That's all.
I do.
You know, I wouldn't want to.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Tell me your name.
My first name is Regan.
All right, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm just excellent PR person. So they're going to start that meeting shortly. And they'll start with their, bullshit proclamations. And then it'll go into public comment. The first 30 minutes will be speakers that have already signed up. But I do need to sign up. Can I actually have that sign-up sheet, please, before I come through security? I don't really want to come through security and go back out. There's no pen with it?
No, I'm actually out of pen, otherwise I'll give you one.
I'd appreciate that pen. Thank you very much. Oh boy, I'm gonna be here all night. We'll see how this goes, because I'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll be number 11. On top of the other speakers that already get the first 30 minutes. This is gonna be a long night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You want an agenda?
If you have an extra copy right there, that'd be great. Thank you very much. All right. We're gonna go out here for a little bit. And sit nowhere, because there's nowhere to sit. Is that door locked? I just want to grab a chair. Because it's so inviting out here, to be able to sit down before a meeting.
I got you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Well, that was very sweet.
But
Thank
I
you.
just would like to help.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So let's just sit here in this great big open. Mr. Facility Manager, could we get some furniture out here?
I'll get right on that with the team.
Can I put in a request for proposal? Because I'd like to be the first bidder.
We can see what we can do.
I mean, seriously, we need somewhere to sit out here.
There's usually not business happening too much out
There's
here.
always business happening, because you've got the courts Monday through Friday.
Right, and
And
we
I-
are sitting inside courts.
But what if you don't want to go in there? What if you don't want to go through security? What if you want to wait out here?
Yeah, true, but I guess ultimately if you're doing business with courts though, you have to go in, right?
No, not necessarily. I could do my business and then come out here and not have to be in there. Because remember, we've got the no recording rule, right? So I
Sure.
try not to record in there if there's children or sensitive things that people are too dumb to take into private and talk about in there. So we've got this great big open area. I mean, could we just get a damn chair? Just, a nice little sitting area.
I'll talk
It's
to the
been
team.
an issue for a few weeks. It really has.
Okay, I'll
So-
talk to the team, see what we can do for you.
Cool, thank you. Appreciate that. Really, just a chair. Okay, let's sit down. Remember that guy? I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he sat in a meeting with Sean Lewis and explained the bathroom situation to me. So that's quite ironic that they're talking about, what a great job they're doing with homelessness. Because as we saw today, they're not. And that's just one documented incident of them not doing a good job. So the agenda. If you haven't seen it this evening, gone online and looked at it, they will start the meeting and do roll call, Pledge of Allegiance. We, of course, have to do awards and proclamations of all the heroes in government before we get to public comment. So we've got a recognition of Economic Development Manager Darren Hollingsworth and Community Development Director Brad Power in receiving the Downtown Colorado Incorporated Governor's Award for Excellence. Then we've got a Deputy City Manager here in Englewood. He's also going to get recognition for completion of the International City Management Association of Emerging Leaders Development Program. Then we have a Juneteenth proclamation, and then we have a Pride Month proclamation, and then we have a Pollinator Month proclamation where we talk about the miller moths and the bees pollinating all our beautiful landscapes that government manages. We got to get to the important shit before public comment. Oh, and then we go on to public comment after that. So, how is everybody tonight? Let's watch Alex over there at the door. Be a good little security guard for Allied. Not sure why he needs to be here when you got a cop in there. Just a waste of money. And to keep the riffraff from coming in, like those pesky homeless people. MD, don't be so snooty. I mean, it's okay to say thank you. Hey, whoever put that $10 super chat in there, thank you very much. Yeah, boy, I don't know if I want to be here for this long of a meeting. It's like going to be 2 more hours.
Elevator down to 1 and you go out. Yes, sir. Thank you. Of course.
You want me to ask if they know what the Constitution is? Ay, ay, ay. All right. Well, I guess we're going to go into this meeting, but. First things first. I shall return.
No shot. Okay.
Walking forward is a good dance move.
Yeah.
Can this sit right here?
Yeah.
This is water.
Any knives, pepper spray?
No.
Nothing like that?
No.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, here we go. Let's go listen to some more bullshit. This is cool. I didn't know all this existed. It's quite the fancy room.
Partners, the Englewood Downtown Development Authority, the Greater Englewood Chamber of Commerce, and Small Business Development Center. And I want to present this award to Brad Power, our Community Development Director, as well as Darren Hollingsworth, Economic Development Manager, in recognition of the city's Economic Development Strategic Plan.
Let's sit in the front row.
Here we are, and I know that we have a little plaque here, and I'll go ahead and just take a quick picture. And just a round of applause to the community.
Oh yeah, round of applause. Round of applause for the government awards, but the peasants are not allowed to clap during public comment. Hold your applause, please. Hold your applause. No applause allowed. Hold your applause.
We have a second award to give tonight, and what did I do with my notes here? So this is going to be recognition of our Deputy City Manager, Tim Bell, for completion of the International City Management Association Emerging Leaders Development Program. Sean, is there anything that you want to say regarding this program, or?
I put those in the notes for you a second there. I'm actually trying to figure out where I left the notes. Oh, sorry.
I figured I've got it. So
Here we go.
I got the notes, sorry. So I'd like to ask Deputy City Manager Tim Duffy here to come forward. I really messed this one up, didn't I? So for many years, the International City Management Association has operated a competitive leadership development program called the Emerging Leaders Development Program. The program focuses on building knowledge, skills, and abilities in management and technical topics that city managers need to know to be successful. The Emerging Leaders Development Program is designed to help mid-career professionals through a unique format that blends monthly seminars with senior managers and public administration professors to develop critical leadership skills. Our own Deputy City Manager Tim Dodd has recently completed this development program, and I invite you all to join me in congratulating Tim on this accomplishment. Congratulations so much, Tim.
Hold your applause. No applause allowed. No applause, please. It's disruptive to the meeting. And keep applauding. Sure, okay.
We've got a couple of proclamations here tonight as well. So the first one is the Juneteenth proclamation. Whereas the city of Englewood recognizes that our nation was founded upon the principles that all people are created equal and that each person has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whereas the city of Englewood is strengthened by and thrives upon the rich diversity of all its residents, all of which contribute to the vibrant character of the community. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19, 1865, reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas June 19th has special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. And whereas the city established the staff-based diversity, equity, and inclusion committee made up of 19 staff members, Vermont departments they unanimously approved a recommendation of a Juneteenth proclamation and associated day of service.
This is some kind of cult. Yeah, it is.
2022 to celebrate the federal holiday of June 19th. And I am now therefore here proclaiming that I, Daniel Sierra, Mayor for the city of Englewood, and the city council hereby proclaim Juneteenth in the city of Englewood, and urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and participate in the day of service within Englewood on June 18th. So thank you very much to the DEI Commission as well as other staff members that were involved in this. Moving on to Pride Month. And I'll read from the proclamation. Whereas the city of Englewood recognizes that our nation was founded upon the principles that all people are created equal and that each person has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas all members of the Englewood community, including those who are LGBT+, have the right to feel safe, not to be discriminated against, and to live without threat of harassment.
Unless you got body odor and you come into the Englewood Civic Center.
Diversity of all its residents, all of which contributes to the vibrant character of the community. And whereas the city employs and serves many residents who are LGBTQ+, and whom may lack the visibility and acceptance based on past and present discrimination, and where the LGBTQ+ community have a strive in legal equality. But much work remains in order to achieve inclusion, acceptance, and full equality. And whereas for more than 3 decades, Pride Month has been recognized in Colorado in the United States to commemorate the Stonewall Riots of 1969 and to affirm the dignity, equality, and contributions of LGBTQ+ individuals. And whereas the city established the staff-based diversity, equity, and inclusion committee made up of 19 staff members from all departments and unanimously approved the recommendation to establish June as Pride Month here in the city of Englewood. Now therefore, it be proclaimed that I am being chair of the city of Englewood, and the city council hereby proclaims June as Pride Month in the city of Englewood, and encourage all residents to consider the contributions of the LGBTQ+ individuals and affirm the dignity and the work of LGBTQ+ individuals. So thank you again for being here. And I'll read the Pollinator Month proclamation. Whereas the city of
Pollinator Month.
open spaces which contribute to the city's quality of life. Many of the trees and plants that beautify our landscapes and form key elements of our ecosystems rely on pollinators to propagate and to contribute to ecological services. Whereas pollinators of all kinds, including native bees, wasps, butterflies, and European honeybees, are a critically important part of our agriculture and food systems. And the pollination of a significant amount of our food supply is extremely important to food production. Whereas the loss of habitat and food supply for pollinators through the use of pesticides, development resulting in habitat loss and negative environmental impacts are contributing to this decline. Whereas pollinators are in decline in Colorado and across the United States due to a variety of pressures, including climate change, pesticides, diseases, and parasites. Whereas based on university scientific studies and findings that indicate the inappropriate use of pesticides pose unacceptable hazards to pollinators, several cities and counties in the United States took steps to raise awareness of this issue. Whereas the city of Englewood wishes to acknowledge and strengthen its current policies and practices as they relate to the health of pollinators, which in turn relate to the health of our environment and the people. And whereas the city of Englewood City Council in April 2021 adopted the city's first sustainability plan with a goal focused on protecting the natural environment, including projects to increase pollinators in parks and open spaces. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I am being the chair here for the city of Englewood, and the city council hereby proclaim the month of June as Pollinator Appreciation Month in the city of Englewood for the purpose of encouraging all residents to recognize and celebrate the important role pollinators play in our environment and to actively support and protect pollinators of all kinds in the city of Englewood. So thank you very much for the 3 proclamations here tonight, and thank you for everyone for moving these forward. So we're now moving on to agenda item 7. This is recommendation of scheduled public comment. The deadline to sign up to speak or schedule public comment is Wednesday by 5 p.m. prior to the meeting. Through the city clerk's office, this is an opportunity for the public to address city council. There is an expectation that the presentation will be conducted in a respectful manner. Council may ask questions for clarification, but there will not be any dialogue, and please limit your presentation to 5 minutes. First, we have Mr. Doug Cohn, and he will address it here to address council regarding history. And Mr. Cohen, I will be here in response to public comment tonight, so go easy on me, Mr. Cohen.
Okay, I got that turned on, right?
You do?
How do I need just a little bit of assistance to, get my points to work?
We'll give you 1 minute here.
Oh, that's fine.
Super busy over there. Super busy. Super busy city attorney. Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Cohen, just state your name and your address for your question.
My name is Doug Coleman. I live at 3051 South Green Street in Englewood.
Watch how they couldn't give a shit less about the
The
community.
city of Englewood and Arapahoe County Cares and Historic Englewood are putting these history tour brochures
That guy's
together.
over there laughing.
And we have an amazing history in our town, and these help to tell the stories.
She's writing
And
motions
the
for
next
Ian.
steps with the brochure, with the information in the brochures, is to place historic markers at each one of the locations. This one's gonna be put up within the next couple days at McCready's store on the corner of Grant and Gerard. And this is the one, historic building I know the most about. The year was 1910. Englewood was 7 years old and was just beginning to grow from a scattered farm environment into a town. Herman and Sedalia McCready came to town. They had immigrated from Canada. They had first gone to Delta, Colorado on a farm. Then he tried his hand at gold mining up on Berthoud Pass. The venture was too expensive, having to pay to have the ore shipped to Pueblo. Then they moved to downtown Denver and purchased a grocery store there. His grocery store on Larimer Street was very successful, and some of his best customers were the ladies of the night, the prostitutes. They did not want to embarrass him, and so he left the back door open so that they could get in without causing difficulty. He saw an opportunity in the brand new town of Englewood. He found a piece of vacant land on the corner of Gerard and Grant near the Swedish Sanatorium, which at that point was 4 years old, and had a building constructed. The store was opened in 1910 and served the citizens until 1930 when he died. It was one of many of the little corner stores that existed before supermarkets came along. Herman and Sedalia lived in the apartment on the first floor and rented out 8 sleeping rooms upstairs. The people upstairs shared one bathroom. One rumor at the time suggested that some of the prostitutes from downtown Denver moved to Englewood and lived upstairs and worked in town. Another version, which is more about the family, I believe is true. He wanted to offer the women a chance to leave prostitution and find a better life. The McCready children, the McCready children close up the grocery store. The McCready children
He talks about the history of Englewood. He does presentations here all the time.
The little girl in the picture there, her daughter, graduated from Englewood High School in 1952, the first year that the new high school was opened. In 1948, the building was converted to apartments, and it's still used as an apartment house now. Each apartment has a bedroom and a living room. My wife and I bought the building in 1982 and are offering affordable rents. The rents range from $380 to $600 a month. What if the Englewood Housing Authority would buy some of these kind of buildings? And perhaps there could be something with some low-income housing there. Just at the study session, if Arapahoe County, well, whatever it's called these days, decides they don't want the office area, that might be a spot as well. Anyway, that's all I got tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Coe, thank you very much for your presentation.
He finished up saying, why can't Englewood turn some of this, these older historic buildings into low-income housing? And he made reference to county commissioners being here. He said the county, Arapahoe County Health or whatever they're called. He's cute.
All right. Up next is Jessica Knapp here to address council regarding the consideration of a pestle ordinance to prevent the retail sale of dogs and cats in brick and mortar.
Oh, this is going to be interesting
And
here.
our last name correctly is Knapp or Knapp? When you say that, if you just state your name and your address or crossing.
Yeah, we can't hear out here.
I don't think it's you, Ms. Knapp. I think it's just the microphone. Actually, do you want to kind of point it a little bit closer towards your, and, I don't think you.
Not really. Talk loud, hon.
Council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I came here to ask you to please consider a preventative pest store ordinance. Over 450 municipalities in the U.S., including 12 in Colorado, have already done so. And the majority of these ordinances are preventative so that they don't affect any local businesses. The reasons for enacting an ordinance to prohibit the retail sale of dogs and cats include stores prey on customers' emotions to get the highest sales price possible, and then push in-store financing with extraordinarily high interest rates. Stores also sell sick animals, burdening the customer with vet bills on top of their purchase price. Stores have also been known to sell mixed breeds at a purebred price, and the most pressing issue is that stores source their puppies from puppy mills. This statement is heavily documented by Bailing Out Benji, a nonprofit with the largest puppy mill database in the U.S. A pet store ordinance would only prohibit the retail sale of dogs and cats. It would not encroach on pet supply stores.
Let's keep government out of private business, shall we?
Adoption events. This would also not affect responsible breeders, as they do not sell to pet stores. They sell to the public, and they care about their animals and passing on accurate information. Animals that are not sold in pet stores often end up in shelters. Further, pet stores do not ensure the animals are going to prepared owners, which increases the likelihood that the animal will be surrendered at a later date. Shelters require an immense amount of tax dollars, time, and resources. They're overflowing with dogs of all ages and all breeds, and despite that, they still take their time to do their part to ensure the animals go to prepared owners. So there's just no need for shelters to compete. Our concern is that a pet store selling dogs and cats would open here and create a problem for the city and surrounding cities. The sale of puppies and kittens, it brings controversial attention at best, resulting in cities preemptively passing pet store bans to keep this problem from starting in the first place, and it's much easier to pass a preventative ban than it is to address an already existing business. Pet supply stores do not sell the dogs and cats, and they remain lucrative businesses that do not draw negative attention and controversy. Please ensure Englewood does not become involved in supporting the puppy mill industry by allowing a pet store to open here that sells dogs and cats. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your discussion tonight.
Dogs
Ms. Dad,
and
any questions
pets.
of the council? I guess I just have one question. I know that you've emailed us a few times and you stated that there's other cities around the Denver metro area that have put in these type of bans. Do you have any off the top of your head that currently have this? Or at least assessment? Go ahead.
Superior, Berthoud, Fountain, Minturn, Frisco, Eagle, Lakewood, or Littleton is considering one, Firestone is considering one, Lafayette is considering one, so various cities.
Thank you for that. And I know that we have a Petco, it's a Petco here in the city. I'm not sure if they sell pets, but, okay, so.
Yeah, Petco sells pets, of course they do. So those pet lives don't matter? Interesting.
I appreciate that. Question number one.
Petco does, I think, work with the Humane Society, so collaborate with strays and stuff in place now.
Right, so these ordinances, they don't prohibit any collaboration with, any type of adoption events or any shelters like that.
So this is not a time for dialogue,
Retail sale of dogs and cats that
but it is.
prohibits.
Any further questions? Seeing none, Ms. Dan, thank you very much for your time tonight. Up next is Eric Bertoluzzi, here to discuss with council an update regarding Englewood Arts. Good evening.
Thank you and good evening.
Could you state your name and your address for your process?
Okay, my name is Eric Bertoluzzi. My address is 4860 South Calvados
Why
Street.
do people give their address? That is the dumbest fucking thing.
01110. I am the executive director of Englewood Arts, a nonprofit organization.
You're making a public record, people. Don't give your damn address.
Since the year 2000. We at Englewood Arts are faithful to our mission, which is to enrich the life of the community through arts education and performance in dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. During the 23-year history of Englewood Arts, we created and implemented many programs in support of our mission. Our current programs include Symphony Spotlight, which is an ensemble of 13 Colorado symphony musicians that gives educational performances primarily in Denver area elementary schools. We implemented violin programs in 2 elementary schools where more than 150 students in grades 3, 4, and 5 lessons 3 mornings each week during regular school hours. Our Kinder Dance program at Maddox Early Childhood Education Center had 225 students participating during the fall semester. The Strings Attached program has more than 60 Englewood students enrolled in 30-minute weekly lessons, most taking place in the former MOA space. Englewood Arts presents monthly chamber music of the Masters concerts in Hampton Hall, which feature top local, national, and international artists. As you know, we became the managing entity of Hampton Hall on January 4, 2016. If I were to describe the full variety of community activities presented in Hampton Hall, it would consume more than my allotted time for these comments. Englewood Arts is financially stable, has a robust schedule of activities.
Okay, Dope Dog, if I ever get up there, it's going to be like 2 hours.
Enrichment of the community. From time to time, we wonder if our efforts are making a difference. However, along came Mary Rose Drummond, one of our Strings Attached students, who is a perfect example of why Englewood Arts exists. It is such an honor to have Mary Rose here tonight. She's to share her delightful talent with you, and I'd like to recognize her extraordinary teacher, Miguel Espinosa.
I'm down with this.
International,
I might clap.
acclaimed artist on the guitar. So I'm so looking forward to hearing Mary Rose again.
Girlfriend, I almost lost it today too. Nice job. She lost her basket and she almost lost it. And she found it. Isn't she precious? My question is, did we go over 5 minutes on that?
Thank you very much for that. I'm sorry that Member Wink did not get to see that in person, but any questions?
Oh, Cheryl Wink, she doesn't come to meetings. If anybody wants to go read that article, now would be a great time. It's hysterical. Hey, could one of the mods put that in there? The Cheryl Wink article? She never comes to the meetings.
Next is Ms. Kathleen Bailey here in Englewood residents to address council. Oh, actually, so Ms. Bailey actually let us know that she wasn't going to be here tonight, so, moving on to. Ms. Deanne Dickerson in Englewood resident here to address council.
Here comes our little firecracker. I'm gonna clap for her when she's done.
only job, as evidenced by things you have each said publicly and as a body, and your behaviors. You are failing to protect our rights. For one example, your focus on homelessness as though it were the major problem we have. Somehow you've managed to avoid any discussion or get our consent to spend our taxpayer dollars on homeless programs through Tri-Cities, which does not appear to be a legal entity or legally allowed to receive money or donations. Yet you seem to accept money and spend it. But nobody knows what this organization
Everybody hearing that?
Who to contact about your needs, your bylaws, your legal status, your bank accounts. And yet you brag about Tri-Cities getting a homeless coordinator, Mike Sandberg. But how is he getting paid? And why? And for what? Where's the accountability? And why did you change the trend, which is incorporated by Mike Sandberg, and using Wolf Spring Church's address and email and website, seem to be tied into or responsible for or responsible to Tri-Cities? You seem to be avoiding public scrutiny and open meeting laws and taking our tax dollars to fund various, sometimes faith-based homeless advocacy programs, even though the most the advocates claim to be able to help is 50 homeless people per year at a current cost of $60,000 per homeless person. And you're not done yet with funding this, because it's not even operational yet. We citizens are being forced to pay for this when we are struggling because of your policies of helping only a few homeless people and incentivizing developer profits instead of the taxpayers who elected you. The taxpayers who have the right to unelect you. It's even written into our charter and is implicit in the Constitution. You have said that you believe property rights, in property rights. You want to give us permission to build ADUs on every single property, and that the ADU could be used as an SDR for income, even if it violates the rights of adjacent property owners. In reality, you want increased density, and you have incentivized developers to overpay for and scrape off affordable housing and build mini mansions or duplexes costing over $1 million per unit. You have restricted our rights to use our property as we wish by criminalizing codes, which further restricts our property rights. You've also said you want only constructive comments from us. Here's one. How about instead of spending $200 million to improve the taste and smell of our water, for which we have been clamoring for the last 25 years, you take less than 10% of that and help every household get reverse osmosis installed or Berkey water filters. Given recent behavior of council in interrupting public forum speeches and disrespecting citizens with questions and responses to the public forum, and in the newspaper and in premature campaigning, you should not be surprised or angry that we continue to exercise our rights to criticize you and want to refuse to be governed by you. And I just got in the mail this thing, and it is full of, it's not something that is, I'm angry. I haven't been angry before, but this makes me angry because you spoke, we listened. We didn't speak on these items. You listened to something, but you didn't listen to the people that were speaking. None of these things make any sense, and they're exactly opposite of what we said. You're increasing density, you're expanding ADUs, you're reducing parking, and you're not paying any attention to lot coverage. It is wrong.
Thank you, Ms. Dickerson, for your time tonight. Any questions for Ms. Seeing none, Ms. Dickerson, thank you for your time tonight. Englewood sitting here to address council regarding the referendum. Good evening, Mr. Kozak.
Good evening, Mr. Council. Eric Kozak, 1260 West Oxford Avenue. I'll start off by thanking all the people that helped support the referendum. It has been successful. so the city council will understand, we get every neighborhood. Not just down by the development, the entire city of Englewood has been represented. I only had 3 weeks in which to get it by the time I finished coming out of the hospital and getting the referendum set in place. And we have more than enough signatures. Ms. Russell, you wondered about our population and the voting population? It's because as I went around, 90% of the people wanted a sign that answered the doors. There's very few that just said, no, I don't want to mess with anything, but 90% wanted a sign, and come to find out, a lot of these homes are now rentals. That brings up a question. You've changed the boundaries, the voting boundaries, but the last election is what you're going off of as far as how many votes you have to recall. But what about, it's not my situation, but I understand there's people that was over in this boundary here where they voted you in, and now you've changed boundaries, and now that person can't sign a petition. Well, I had some petitions withdrawn too, because of people that have moved in Englewood. To reach your question, they're not counted, okay, in our count, but they moved in Englewood, or moved from one house to another house in Englewood to rent a house, and wait a minute, if they haven't run up and registered, they're not counted as an Englewood resident, and yet they're paying taxes in Englewood, they live in Englewood, okay? And so here's where you're getting a skew in all your numbers, okay? Is because several residents that I went and talked to, well, but I just moved here. Well, I can't get your signature then because you haven't changed your address to be registered. And what did they go off of? They went off the voting tab of everybody that voted back then. But there's a lot of people that moved into town since then. No question. Now, I also went to the recreation center. And lo and behold, I was shocked, and I live across from that. Easily 75% of the people that go to that Englewood Recreation Center are not Englewood residents. And every one of them, or the vast majority of them, will have loved to sign a petition because of what's pre-existing in a traffic problem there. You see, I took the time sitting there and talking to them. That there was right now, pre-existing problems, let alone when you add more problems. All right? And I understand also from some people that were on the P&Z that wasn't a unanimous vote for this project. There were several of them that opposed it for several different reasons, but a lot of the reasons was because of our infrastructure could not handle more traffic. Oh, well, wait a minute. We don't need you. We're going to go ahead and, because you haven't won by a vote, we're going to go ahead and pass it on to city council. You as city council members were voted in to represent the people of Englewood. I'm a person of Englewood. I've been a long-time resident. In fact, my family was here before it was Englewood. And when I approached the city council and I showed pictures of the traffic problems and stuff, and then when I walked out in the lobby, I had 2 council members making rather obnoxious comments. All right? Because I had the people come back out and inform me of that. Are you representing me? Are you representing the citizens of Englewood, or are you representing your personal connections, what you want to do yourself, what you want to accomplish in the city of Englewood, and not what is good for Englewood? Every person that signed that petition said that our city council doesn't listen anymore. They want to do their own thing, and they don't even question it. Real question. Why is it only 1,000 feet from a project when this project here would affect people clear up to a mile? Because that's a major collector. And we didn't have to be notified. The other apartments built down there, that was very the case. I was just out of the range, so I was never notified. I've been there forever. Now, you wonder why there's a recall. These people are upset out here because they came to you with honest opinion and wanted to try to address you, and basically, you spit us in the face. I asked for traffic study. Hey, I was finally offered a traffic study the night that you guys are gonna go ahead and close.
Mr. Kozak, your finance, thank you very much for your time tonight. Any questions for Mr. Kozak? Kozak? Seeing none, Mr. Kozak, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Another good speaker. Excellent.
That's constitutional rights for them to apply.
Thank you, Mr. Kozak. We are now moving on to unscheduled public comment, and it looks like we do have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 11 on the docket for tonight. Okay, so we'll start with the people in, here in person. We have Lauren Wambach here to discuss the pest control ordinance.
Hi, I'm Lauren Rombach, West Coal Mine Drive, and I'm here asking for an ordinance to ban sale of puppies and kittens in pet stores. And Thomas has pictures of puppy mills that came from drones in Iowa, because most people have not seen what they actually look like.
Look, you can
Killing an estimated
walk
1
around
million
and
dogs a year,
display your
shelters in the
stuff.
country. Dogs spend the vast
Oh,
majority of
right
their
on.
lives being wonderful
That's good to know.
companions, even as puppy mills turn out hundreds of thousands more, often in horrendous conditions for profit.
That's great to
If ever
know.
there was time for why people should adopt and
Right
not
on.
shop for a dog, this is it. However, as long as pet stores are allowed to sell puppies and kittens, the public will unknowingly support puppy mills.
Guess I'll be
Every one
laminating
of the
some
13 stores along the Front Range sources from puppy mills.
pictures
I volunteer for Bailing Out Benji.
of
We have the
homelessness.
largest database in the country on sourcing from pet stores from puppy mills, so that's where we get our information. By supporting stores that sell these dogs, the public is unknowingly propping up an industry that's fundamentally unethical. Breeding dogs are kept in wire cages that are only 6 inches longer than their nose their entire lives. Often the cages are stacked so that the dogs go and relieve themselves from the dogs below. They only have to be fed once per day, and around age 5, the dogs are killed in whatever way the owner wants. Typically, a gunshot to the head is the cheapest because they can no longer breed. And most people don't know that this kind of thing goes on. They just see the cheap puppies in the stores. Stores that do not sell live animals are profitable. According to Bailing Out Benji, in the year 2020, Americans spent $99 billion on their pets, an increase from 2019 when they spent $95.7 billion. PetSmart and Petco are profitable businesses, and their main focus is selling animal products, not animals. And they are also stores that will have adoption beds come into their stores, and so they help rescue animals and things like that. So they're a humane business model, which is what I urge. It's much easier to put an ordinance in place instead of allowing a pet store to open that sells live animals. Once the store is in business, it's virtually impossible to shut it down. And you're hurting no one by passing the ordinance. Consumers can still get any type of dog they choose by going to a shelter or a reputable breeder, and no reputable breeder would ever sell to a pet store. Please help us eradicate puppy and kitten mills. They serve no purpose except to contribute to the already overpopulated shelters and number of unwanted animals. Let our state legislators know that Englewood will not be open to business and supports the inhumane treatment of animals. The 12 towns in Colorado that have passed an ordinance to ban the sale of puppies and kittens in pet store understood the importance of taking a stand against the cruelty that the parents suffer in the mills. They understood the importance of sending a message to state legislators that their town is in support of this legislation. If we get enough towns to pass this ordinance, especially towns like Englewood, maybe the state will finally pass this on a statewide basis.
Ms. Roebuck, your time is up. We only have 3 minutes, but thank you very much for your talk tonight. Any questions, Member Woodward?
Yeah, I have a question regarding, is this ordinance regarding dogs and cats only, or does this
Yes,
include?
one that we're asking for would be dogs and cats only in pet stores, and because the dogs and cats are sourced from puppy mills. In Colorado alone, we have at least 45 puppy mills, and 6 of those are catteries.
Okay.
So that's what we're asking for.
Yeah, what I was just trying to get clear on was that it doesn't include things like reptiles or birds.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that would be something to consider too.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Member Wink has a question for you as well, Ms. Roebuck.
Oh.
Member Wink.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Roebuck, thank you for being here. I just want for an educational piece for our citizens and constituents. Are there any locations, and maybe you don't have to name them and make it uncoverable, but are there already locations in Englewood that are selling puppy mill stores animals?
No, not currently in Englewood, but they're
Very good.
in Littleton, there is a store that is
Okay.
proposed being open, so we just want to do it preemptively before the stores can open, because once they do, it's virtually impossible to stop
Right.
the stores.
I think that's a critical detail. Thank you. Thank you so much, for being here tonight and sharing this with us. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
No further questions from,
Okay.
thank you so much for your time. Up next is Senator McBride here, also discussed the pet store ordinance. And actually, one thing I forgot to ask Ms. Ronbach, did you also state your cross street as well? Your cross street, so your address or your cross streets? Well, your name and then your address or your cross streets. Go ahead, Mr. McBride.
Okay. Well, I'm actually a resident of Denver.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
here as a volunteer for Bathing Out Vision.
Okay,
And
perfect. But could you state your name and your address or your cross streets? Yeah.
Thomas McBride, South Balsam Way, Denver.
Okay, what's the number on there? What's the?
4875 South Balsam.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I have left a packet of information for all the council members, explaining a little bit about Bathing Out Veggie and some of the issues that we have. The one I'd really like you to look at is the one on top, which talks about a puppy sold in a pet store and what happens. You pay an exorbitant price for these puppies, thousands of dollars. And they can charge up to 188% interest for purchasing these puppies through them. It can cause tremendous financial burdens. Even if the puppy dies, you don't get your money back and you still owe the loan. The puppies are raised in horrible conditions in the puppy mills, poor sanitation, poor nutrition, little or no veterinary care, exposed to a number of diseases. In Des Moines, Iowa, we had a case, 150 people were contaminated with canine brucellosis from a puppy purchased in a pet store anymore. So there's 1 million dogs euthanized in the United States every year, yet we are flooding them with puppies coming out of these puppy mills. And we have dozens and dozens of shelters, rescues, humane societies that have wonderful animals that are looking for homes. And that's what we encourage people to do, is adopt and not go out and purchase this puppy or dog. These puppies in the shelter need homes too. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. McBride. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your time tonight. Up next is Jan Whiteford, here to discuss ADUs. Good evening, Ms. Whiteford. If you state your name and your address or cross streets.
Thank you, Jan Weinberg, Federal Bellevue. So I've been in front of you quite a few times over the last few months. And the one thing that I know is consistently on these city council meetings is that 80 to 90% of the people that speak are saying stop the density. And Gary's petition is indicative of that. Stop the density. You are putting out information that's incorrect when you say that people are behind the density changes. That's not right. You aren't listening to people. You aren't counting people. You aren't paying attention to us. Again, I've said this before, I believe that you as our employees should be looking at resident owners, resident renters, and resident businesses when you're looking at who you're listening to. Then go to non-resident owners and developers. But please look at those of us that live here first. great niece here with me tonight. And she said, why are you getting people to sign those papers? And I said, well, because we aren't happy about some things. And she said, you want to fire some people? And I said, yeah, we want to fire some people because they won't listen to us. She said, why? And I said, well, they're wanting to put a house next to me, a little house, a tiny house next to me on one side, and maybe a tiny house next to me on the other side. And I said, we keep telling them no, and they keep saying yes. And that's exactly what the committee was talking about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And it's going forward. It's not okay. And the information you're putting out saying that we want this, you're wrong. We don't want this. I also want to talk about speaking in a respectful manner, that this also is applicable to city council. I'm not a little person. It's not a little group of us. We are real people. We are your bosses. And yes, if we don't get this straightened out, we want you fired, and we're working on it. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Whiteford. Any questions for council? Your thoughts for yourself? Seeing over the top. Member Wink, is your hand still up or?
It is.
Ms. Whiteford, Member Wink has a question for you. Go ahead, Member Wink.
Yeah. I'll wait till she gets back there. Ms. Weber, thank you so much. I had a question. So you referenced some of us making that decision to put that little house next to yours. What decision has been made to do that? And who's made that decision to put to increase this density? What decision are you referencing, please?
You keep voting the information to go forward. You keep telling the UCD committee what they should be looking at. They're still confused on whether they're looking at 2 ADUs or 1, according to the last meeting I listened to. They're still saying you want parking where it's not required to be in off-street. I mean, these are decisions. You guys are voting to go forward. You have committees that you're listening to, lock, stock, and barrel. Yes, you're voting to go forward with this. If you weren't, you would say, stop it. You're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to these people. You are going forward with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Whiteford, for your time tonight. Thank you, Member Wink. Up next is Chris Lewis here to talk about Little Dry Creek. Hello, Mr. Lewis, if you state your name and your address for cross streets.
Hi, my name is Chris Lewis.
And can you state your address for cross streets?
Bellevue and Broadway, right on the edge of the ghetto. Councilmember Wayne refers to me as one of the little ones in her last article. I have watched our neighborhoods continue to decline. I hate having to be here and state my concerns, especially to the people that took an oath to protect and serve. Last time I stated my concerns and showed a short video of Little Dry Creek Pond filling with debris on May 15th. It's worse tonight. I've watched this project get renovated time and time again over the last 20 years, spending millions of taxpayers' money with poor results. Councilmember Wink said there was critical flaws in my argument. I wasn't arguing with anyone. I was just playing a video of what I experienced and stated a few facts, knowing that taxpayers' money was spent on this project and not being maintained properly. People continue to camp out and destroy this area. 60 billion of taxpayers' money have been spent through mill levy taxes and through the Mile High Flood District, the company that designed Little Dry Creek project. I never said it was designed and built by the city of Englewood, as Ms. Swing stated. I said I was disgusted with the way the pond was being neglected and maintained. I gave credit for the greenskeeping, the debris out of the tunnels. That's a good design. Ms. Swing, before you start quoting me, keep your facts straight. Don't lie. Liars and thieves hang out together. Did I strike a nerve with you? The design was ultimately approved by council. The fact remains, millions of our taxpayers' money have been wasted on the Little Dry Creek. It's been redesigned twice in the past 20 years. Around $6 million have been spent on this area, and it's still a mess. Now you're working with Englewood Downtown Development Authorities to redevelop the entire space again. What experience in engineering does the Englewood Downtown Authorities have to redesign this area? Using millions in taxpayers' dollars as an experiment to flood control is a waste of our taxpayers' money. The positive is fine the way it is. It just needs maintained. Management is key. Government wastes more money than they have since. That's why this nation's in debt. That's why the city's in shambles. Because of poor financial spending on projects we don't need. You should spend money on basic infrastructures. We didn't need a new logo on this building or street signs. That was another waste of money. As I drive here today, Broadway is filled with potholes. There's a lot of the citizens out there watching and taking notes. You were elected to represent everyone, including us, Olivia.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Lewis?
And since I have another minute, that's the car in my neighborhood. They got front-ended by a hit-and-run driver. There's been several cars stolen in my neighborhood in the last year. I just want to let you know.
Thank you. Thank you for your time tonight, Mr. Lewis. Any questions from council? Go ahead, Member Russell.
You should cut him off.
And thank you, Mr. Lewis, for your presentation. So you are saying the grate is not the problem?
Great keeps the debris from going in the tunnel. That's a good design. It's just a grate, it's not being cleaned out. It's filling up with debris. You just have to have a design, you gotta have a grate over the tunnel. That's not a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so your complaint is we need to keep the debris cleaned up.
Yeah, keep the debris and maybe control it, because the people that are hanging out there are destroying that area.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Member Woodward?
Thank you. Mr. Lewis, when was this particular video up on?
Sunday.
Sunday?
Sunday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, I went down there Sunday morning, it was raining real hard to see if anybody's actually paying attention.
Well, can you comment?
I didn't see any city people hanging out.
We'll wait till the end for a comment.
Okay.
Anything else, Member Woodward?
No other questions.
I control that area quite a bit, I watch what's going on.
Mr. Lewis, thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for your time tonight, Mr. Lewis. Up next is Ellie Gerke, no accepting given. Good evening, Ms. Burby, if you could just state your name, your address, or property.
Sure. I'm Ellie Burby, my cross street, or my address is 2961 South Lincoln Street. Hello, and thank you for listening. I am Ellie. I live here in Englewood for over 10 years as a citizen. I live here with my family. My husband is a PT over at Craig Hospital. My son Remy is one little guy on the way, and 2 rescue dogs. I really appreciated the comments from these gals earlier, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. And I'm a proud homeowner in District 1. Although I can say with certainty, if we hadn't been able to buy in the year that we did, my husband and I working 2 full-time jobs could not be homeowners in Englewood today. My day job is I am the executive director of a children's nonprofit that provides health care to kids, over 10,000 kids a year in the metro area. It's money we serve. Many of those are Englewood families. And I'm telling you that because of those 10,000 kids we serve, their families report 2 of the two biggest barriers to access to care. One of those two being housing stability, homelessness, transiency, and related housing issues. So I think on that note, I'm bringing that up because I want to thank council for exploring the issue of housing. And I want to recognize that it's a really difficult topic with no clear answer. It's important work though. It's a critical topic, and if no one could it weren't important, no one would care. The feedback that you might be getting would not be here. So it's clearly important, and conflict, just want to present a reminder that conflict is healthy in growth. You're growing city, you're growing the success, the future of Englewood, and conflict is healthy. So stay the course. That's what I want to say to council, and know that no one has a perfect solution here. I think we can all agree, no matter what side of the petition you're on, to recall that we want our children to be healthy. We want them to thrive. Healthy kids are better learners, and they are the future of our city. They're better contributors to the community. And so I just want to offer to my fellow citizens pushing a petition to just really try to focus as well on what we have in common that really does end all desires of city council and the members of our community are probably much more similar than what you may think in a moment of anger or disagreement that we don't all have. I don't think anyone here has motives that are for anyone's worst interest. If you think that, I encourage you to get to know some of your city council members, and because you'll find that they have big hearts, though we may just disagree on how.
Ms. Burby, you're 3 minutes, right? Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your time tonight. Any questions from members of council? Seeing none, Ms. Burby, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Up next is Madison Andrews, here to discuss affordable housing. Good evening, Ms. Andrews. If you could just state your name and your address or crosswalks.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Madison Andrews, and I'm a union and Lincoln. First and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for the discussions, ideas that you guys have brought forward on affordable housing. I want to bring a different perspective than I think you've heard a lot, which is I'm a recent first-time home buyer. I bought in the beginning of, or the end of 2021, and I told my brother I wanted to be in Englewood. We didn't look at houses outside of Englewood. My mom is from Englewood, my grandparents live in Englewood. I love the thriving small business community. I love the diversity. I wanted to be in Englewood. Part of why I chose the house I chose was the diversity in zoning on the street I'm in. I'm an R1 property personally, however, most of the houses on my street are not R1. Most of them are some kind of mixed density, whether that's the condos everyone loves to hate, but also several units from the 70s that are multi-housing units, and a lot of ADUs or split units big houses. Because it's such a diverse street, there are so many families in different stages of life. There are people like me who are single or newly married or newly living together. There are young families, there are families with high school students, and there are people who've been on my street for 40 or 50 years. And I love it. I love my neighbors, and I love how diverse it is. But the reality is, when people talk about scraping affordable houses to put condos, they're talking about my house, right? They're talking about my 2-bed, 1-bath, 900 square foot house that might be scraped someday by a developer that went for just under $500,000 and it's only appreciated since then. And I want to specifically call out the Denver Real Estate Agency is no longer, or commission is no longer tracking houses under $500,000 as affordable because there's not enough data in Denver metro area for those houses. They can't track it with valuable data anymore. It's not affordable. And so this idea that if we do not put any more development and if we keep zoning the exact same way, is going to somehow create affordable housing just doesn't make sense because $500,000 isn't affordable for our teachers and our nurses and our firefighters and our police officers in the community. I want to challenge and put in a different voice than what you're going to hear tonight of just this idea that we're going to do nothing and affordability is going to come. It's just not true. And I appreciate the work you guys have been doing to try and create avenues that people could afford houses who want to stay in the community, part of what makes Englewood great is a great mix of blue collar and white collar culture, right? And right now, the only people who can afford an Englewood are either people who've been multi-time house buyers or people like me who work for a Fortune 500 company and make a lot of money. That's how $500,000 is affordable. And I've worked nonprofit jobs, I've worked city and state jobs. I could have never afforded my house if I did not make what I make today. That's not being what I want to see in the future.
Ms. Andrews, thank you very much for your time tonight. Any questions from the council? No new cameras.
Andrews, thank you for being here. I just want to make sure I understand, your home is an R1 property. You first came into, are you on a dividing line between the turn down on the other side?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's the Broadway corridor. So anything that backs to Broadway has multi-units allowed on it versus my side of the street does have some multi-unit on it, but not all of it is multi-unit. There are several R1 properties on my street.
And what is your experience with things like parking or traffic on that street with that mixed use?
I have not had issues with parking or traffic on our street. I think because many of the units on our street have the back alley garages, there's definitely a lot of cars. I don't want to pretend that our streets are empty. They're not, but I've not had any issues. I've thrown parties. I've had friends over. My neighbors have thrown parties. My neighbors have had friends over, and I've never had an issue with finding parking.
Okay, thank you.
See no further questions, Ms. Andrews, thank you for your time tonight. Up next is Maggie Burns here to speak, general encouragement. How to get that first word? Good evening, Ms. Burns. You can just state your name, your address, or cross.
My name is Maggie Burns. I live at Gerard Lafayette. Good evening, council. Thank you for having me this evening. I guess you know how much enjoy this deal. I want to take a moment tonight to say a few words of encouragement. First, the city's recent rebranding and neighborhood map design is absolutely incredible. I know that you probably didn't personally work on it, you were the ones making the design, but I'm sure that you had a hand in improving it or asking pieces of it to be completed. Well done. It is incredible. I walk around town with my Englewood tote bag all the time, very proudly. I'm obsessed with it, and I can't wait to get a neighborhood sticker out in the neighborhood nights soon. Please let your staff know that they're doing really, really good work. Second, I want to thank you for stepping into the conversation about affordable and attainable housing in this city, even though it has been met with considerable pushback and anger. There are many of us who are for these conversations and really appreciate the time that you took to bring those issues to the table. I'm one of the people in this community who is very interested and encouraged by conversations around attainable and affordable housing here. So if this issue ever makes it back onto the docket, I will be very excited. I know many of my friends will be also. Those of us who are for these types of conversations may have not been very vocal at city council meetings in the past, and for that I apologize. It is an intimidating place to feel welcome when I see my friends booed and laughed at from where I'm standing right now. I'm sure it hasn't been easy for you to sit where you are or listen to all the anger and frustration that you've had come at you.
Ms. Burns, do you mind pausing? Can we stop the time real quick? Members of the public, if we could just afford her the courtesy that they show you as well when you come to speak. I just want Ms. Burns to get her proper time and try to get a point across. Which is kind of a good point, but go ahead, Ms. Burns.
She was doing just fine.
I want my presence at this comment to be a small reminder that even though we might not.
Did you bring her to city council, there, Mr. Mayor?
Finally, I wanted to let you know, just generally, that you're doing a great job. I'm constantly impressed by how engaged and caring so many of you are in and for the city, and I'm grateful to have a group of city council members who are working with such intention and diligence. Thank you.
Ms. Burns, thank you very much for your time today. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for your time. Up next is Kevin Wright, with no topic given. Mr. Wright, you can state your name and your address or please.
My name is Kevin Wright. I'm on Julian and Tubbs. Back again, guys, in opposition to this Title 16 code next. But one thing I haven't heard discussed here is about this COVID-19 and the pandemic that we just experienced. Social distancing, that's the case now. cramming people into one spot. Experts have said this is not the first time or the last time that this will happen where a virus will be released from a laboratory. This is a man-made accident that happened. The world was affected, not just Englewood, the world. 7 million people died. What steps have been taken in Codenext and your plans to protect the citizens of Englewood if another outbreak was to occur? Please tell me this, because our safety is in your hands. I figure it's a valid question, because I experienced the Wuhan virus just like everybody in this room. What steps are you taking to keep this community safe in the future? Now, I have a response for former Mayor Linda Olson and our council member that was interviewed by Englewood Herald, who decided to call the citizens, taxpayers, and registered voters little citizens. Regarding Englewood Council's handling of affordable housing and the ongoing recall efforts, Englewood Council's exploration of multiple perspectives and possible solutions to community housing needs is commendable. You've done a great job. Spent a lot of money, done a great job. We appreciate that. Looks like we're running out of time, but here we go. The council members are elected to represent the constituents and must weigh all stakeholders' needs, not just those of developers and big businesses. While recalls are expensive and disruptive, they are a crucial tool for holding elected officials accountable. The fact that 4 seats may sit empty for a few months is a small price to pay for ensuring that those in power hear and respond to the community's needs. Waiting for the next election is not always a viable option, especially when elected officials may not be acting in the best interest of their constituents. Englewood City Council's claim of hosting more town halls and listening to Englewood Council's claim of community input is not enough to address deep-seated issues surrounding affordable housing.
Mr. Wright, your 3 minutes are up.
All right.
Thank you for your time tonight. Any questions for members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Wright, thank you for your time. Up next is Kim Wright with no topic here. Right, thank you. If you can just state your name and your address across, please.
Kim Wright, Julian and Tufts. After several open record requests, the city has not been transparent regarding the fact a church that is attended by council members and or city staff is using Hampton Hall at no cost. According to previous contract, the city is also providing 2 rooms free of charge to the church. Approval was given by city manager for the church to use these at no cost. According to new contract being presented, it states that modifications made by the city may be done to room A as long as it's under $20,000. Who's benefiting from the modifications? The church? Is the church receiving preferential treatment over taxpayers that fund the building? Who's paying for the costs associated with the facilities, such as cleaning, AC, heat, etc.? Why is there a rush to sign a new contract when the last contract with Yowers expired in December of 2020? Is this church receiving donations from the city in violation of 501c3 regulations? Who's responsible for ensuring E-Arts is in compliance? Who's responsible for providing the financial accountability for taxpayer-owned asset? Who's accountable for, who's example, when open record requests, transparency, financial reporting laws are violated and ignored. I see that you are. You cannot delegate the responsibility. You cannot contract away the citizens' rights to information and transparency. And you cannot decide to vote on a contract with no public discussion, no financial information, no determination regarding contract compliance. And on a side note, all meetings and interviews should be done in person. And if on video, it should be rarely. And if someone is on video, the person should be on screen so we can see them. And one more thing. City council holds the power of the purse. We are now being inundated by postcards and flyers like never seen before. This all started once recalls were announced. Is this information or is this campaign? I'd really like to know. Thank you.
Ms. Wright, thank you for your time tonight. Any questions? We have a question from Member Russell.
Thank you. So my one question, you said the contract, expired.
December of 2020 with the arts.
And how did you know that?
Court request, open records request.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Wright, I have a question. You were speaking about modifications being done to a church. Which church is it?
Sacred Grace. There's been open records request asking how much they paid for Hampton Hall, and we can't get that information, but we were told that they are given storage space and use of rooms for free for the city manager.
Ms. Wright, thank you for that.
And can I add to that? Had it not been a sponsorship of a city council member, I was going to be charged $150 an hour for the community room as a taxpayer for a community meeting. So I don't think that's very fair.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Ms. Russell. Member Russell, you stood up, right?
I did, I had another question.
Go ahead.
It just disappeared.
Okay.
Actually, it was about.
I have those more often than not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Russell. Ms. Wright, thank you for your time tonight.
You're welcome.
Excellent.
We have up next Adam May Nickel here to talk about our history.
I don't know how, I have room for this big book, so I will just leave it aside. I brought this just to show how many programs we've had since we started. We have 88.
Ms. Nickel, do you mind stating your name and your address across the street?
I'll just put it down. At least you all saw it.
Ms. Nickel, sorry to interrupt you. I didn't realize that that was part of your discussion, so.
That's okay. My name is Ida Nickel, and I live on Penn Street near Union. And good evening, council. Let's see. I want to let you know that I was one of the ones that helped start the Englewood Historic Preservation Society, which was formed in March of 2012 to study and preserve Englewood's rich history and to educate its citizens through historical presentations and a monthly newsletter. Also my book that shows that we have had 80 programs since we started, and there was 3 years eliminated during the pandemic. Our history is our legacy. In historical times, is something handed down from past periods of time to the future. History tells us a story and can bring the past before our eyes as if it were the present. The people of the past are interesting and fun, and to see how some of their thoughts were and their attitudes can differ drastically from ours, and yet similar in common relationships to one another. Building Building stories like planting trees. And it teaches us that learning from the past, we can take lessons from the living and the future. And we can save our Englewood history for generations to come after us. Building strong communities is like planting trees. Planting trees teaches us about learning from the past, living in the future, and building the future that we can take lessons from to understand how trees grow and their relationships to one another. Relates to knitting our community together and saving our Englewood history for generations after us. Where do you think is the best place to plant a young tree? A clearing in an old growth forest. History has shown us that a young tree will grow better when it is planted in an area with older trees. The reason is the roots of the young trees are able to follow the pathways created by former trees and implant themselves more deeply. Over time, the roots of many trees may actually graft themselves together, wrapping around the roots around each other like a piece of crochet on cloth, and creating an intricate, interdependent foundation hidden under the ground. In this way, stronger trees share resources with weaker trees, so that the whole forest becomes healthier. For children, legacy means learning from the past, a feeling of security knowing there are adults who cared about them and helps them establish their values and priorities. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Next time I have a whole lot more to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nickel, for your time tonight. Any questions for Ms. Nickel? Seeing none, Ms. Nickel, thank you for your time. Next is Keegan Benson. No topic given.
That's Regan with an R.
There we go. Didn't see the loop. Good evening, Ms. Benson. If you could just state your name and your
Good evening,
address.
City Council. My name is Regan Benson. It's nice to be here this evening. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My address, Planet Earth. Does that work for you?
Do you have a cross street as well?
Planet Earth. Does that work for you? I hope so. And people really shouldn't be giving their personal information. They're making public record, and I don't know why you're so intent on collecting everybody's personal information. It's very odd. Very odd, Mayor. So, I'm here tonight to follow up from when I addressed you on May 1st. Remember when I was here and I talked about that city prosecutor that y'all hired at $42 an hour that's starting an investigation on me for the unauthorized practice of law? Boy, what a dummy, let me tell you. And as this progresses, it's just gonna make you guys look dumber and dumber and dumber, okay? But enough of that for tonight. So what we're gonna talk about tonight is homelessness and what you're not doing. You're hearing from the residents in Englewood that you're not spending the money properly. Well, guess what? I've got anecdotal evidence of that right from today. Arapahoe County, as a matter of fact, you had some, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, are you busy on your computer right now?
I'm typing notes from what you're saying. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, good. Questions afterwards, right? So anyway, you had commissioners here tonight that of course want to circumvent Tabor again to address homelessness. Let's raise taxes, let's just keep raising taxes. It's the best thing we can possibly do while homelessness continues to grow. You see this locket right here? Everybody see this? This is an urn locket. This is my friend Jesse. Jesse James Smith III. He died on the sidewalk behind Burger King at Broadway and Evans because Englewood couldn't help him. If you think that you are going to continue to pull the wool over people's eyes on how you're addressing homelessness, you're gonna keep looking dumber and dumber and dumber. You better get out on the streets and figure out what's going on. If you wanna watch today's video of a massive failure in Englewood, it's right on my YouTube channel, Regan Benson, and it's titled Resource Failure. You had Arapahoe County Housing Navigator here There is no such thing as affordable housing. Quit lying to people. Stop lying to people. Get out there on the streets and see what these cops continue to do to these people, to criminalize them, to keep them in the system over and over and over. And you, Mr. Lord Mayor Pro Tem, how dare you do what you did to Judge
Your
Jefferson?
time is up.
I'll be back.
Thank you for your time. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your time. City clerk,
No
that concludes
questions.
the people in
Go
person.
figure that,
We have
Sean.
person online.
April, are you there and are you providing public comment? If so, if you could just please unmute.
April, you want to hear us? All right. No.
I'm here.
Oh, go ahead, April. We can hear you.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. April, can you see?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Well, first of all, hello?
Yes, April, can you hear me?
I don't know what you did. Now I can't hear you.
April, I can hear you. If you're able to state your name and your address across this.
Hello? I cannot hear you guys at all.
Give us 1
I'm
second,
just
April.
gonna see if you can hear me.
Are
First
you
of all,
able to
I've
take
been
a
here
note?
from the beginning when you had your little square table where you're all facing each other and congratulating each other and y'all spreading your stupid buzzwords.
April,
Shame on you, because if you gave a shit about the homeless, you would have had 3 words that would have appeared at one point in time, but they didn't. You know what those words were? Continuum of care. You don't care about the homeless, and what I think what you're doing is actually more shameful than what you have done in the past as a little state to the Native Americans. You are tossing homeless Americans out of motels and replacing them with illegal aliens. Where do you have the balls to do something like that? Stop your bullshit. If you gave a shit, everyone would be reaching out to Regan, who just spoke, and tells you what is going on. Do you give a shit? Apparently you don't, and I want to congratulate you on one thing you've done. One thing you actually have done successfully. Prove that you are corrupt. That's what you've done. And if I've got any time left, I'd like to get Regan back up here to say more stuff that she needs to say.
April, thank you for your time tonight. You are the scheduled speaker, so there's no allotted time for anyone else. April, thank you very much for your time.
Regan, step up if you can't. Regan, go ahead and take the rest of my
All right,
time.
that now concludes unscheduled public comment. So I am giving a response, let me go through my notes here. So up first, to Mr. Delco, thank you very much for coming. I always appreciate you coming. Are we going to view this April?
How about you figure out how to
So,
do
Mr.
it?
Delco, thank you very much for your time tonight. I always love it when you do come and speak to the history of Englewood. Thank you for just providing us a little bit of a history towards Grady grocery store, and also just the fact that you kind of want to know about the.
All right, time to go.
Place that's on the historical section around the place. Thank you very much for that.
Listen to
Just
them
another
blah,
thing
blah,
I-
blah, pat ourselves on the back.
I appreciated her, as well as Lauren and Thomas McBride coming to speak with Puppy Mill. I think during my mayor's choice tonight, I'm going to bring it up to members of council if this is something that they would like for us to look into, or have our city attorney look into it. So we'll talk about that during my mayor's choice. Mr. Bertoluzzi.
Stop criminalizing the homeless. Thanks. And when you're out on patrol tonight and there's a homeless person out there without their bike light on, just leave them the fuck alone. Seriously, they'll be okay. I promise you. All right. That was long enough. Rain Nation, good job, girlfriend. Lie, 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 pat myself on the back, pat myself on the back. Lie, lie, lie. Let's have an awards ceremony for government. Let's have a cookout right here in the parking lot. I had to wait way too long to get that out. Okie dokie. Well, I drank all my water. I have officially had my 100 ounces of fluids today. I got some kind of not good news. I'm definitely going to be heading back into surgery. So I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. And let's just say that this last arrest that Denver orchestrated, didn't serve my kidneys real well. So that's on the horizon. So if I disappear for some length of time, you will know why. Thought I had that stuff under control and crept right back up. So at any rate, you guys, thank you for being in here. Yeah, Ray Nation, I'm going to be honest with you. We heard you the whole time in there. I don't know what they were doing. I'm guessing they didn't know what they were doing. The clerk was trying to run that, and she had her helper up there, and they couldn't figure it out. So I don't know what was going on there. So Rain Nation, that's awesome. I look forward to reading that special edition you got going on. So we made no progress for Shelley. We're back in the same boat. I thought Aurora Transparency was going to be providing public comment tonight via Zoom. I'm going to have to get with her and see if she actually was signed up and they didn't let her speak or what. I'm not sure. But you see, I don't have time for this. These people, they don't give a shit. Nothing good is going to happen for my people that are dying. There are people dying out here, and there isn't time for them to sit there and pick their noses and back pat each other to hope that there's going to be some help. So I've got to do my best to continue to work with Aurora Transparency. She's been incredibly helpful doing this level of case management for me to figure out where we're gonna get Shelley. For those of you that were following Lindsay's story, we put Lindsay in a motel. It's not working out. So I tried. Can't do it all. I don't have those resources. The government does. And it is a truth that everything
government touches, it screws up and makes 10 times more expensive and inaccessible to the people that need it the most. And what Lindsay needs right now is pretty much inaccessible unless she's got private insurance. So that's where we're at with that one. Bye, Irish. Sorry. Thank you for being in there. I really appreciate it. Night, night. Sleep well. Modern Retro Radio. Bureaucrats only care about allocating money to themselves while pretending to fix the problems the government created in the first place. That pretty much sums up the whole deal. Right? Right. All right, Irish. Take care. Thank you. Thank you, Clinton. Amanda, I know you were in here earlier. Thank you very much. Bokomo, as always, thank you very much. And for those of you that didn't catch that link to Cheryl Wink's story, you've got to go read it. Bokomo, can you put it in here one last time? Do you have it handy? So those folks that are fired up, the short little firecracker, the very tall woman, they're all redressing government just exactly like they should. The one thing I didn't get to hit on tonight was the Dick's contract to remind them that they've given Dick's free reign of taking people's property by way of the Englewood Police Department. Not that they give a shit, but, you know, it's a reminder of the things they're letting happen. And these people don't care. They think their job is to protect government. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. You might have one or two city council members. I know Rita Russell up there. She asks some good questions. I believe she's concerned about what government is doing, but she's a minority. Okay? And when you're sitting on a city council, this is what I talk about all the time. People say, Reagan, you got to run for office. You got to run for office. No. That right there, could you imagine that being my time consumption and being in the minority? Who cares? No, zero interest. So what? I have a microphone. I have a bigger microphone on YouTube, believe it or not. So I'm going to use that microphone because I'm not a government dependent. I'd love to get government out of the business of homelessness. We shouldn't even be asking government to solve these social ills. Oh, but here we are. You know, for fuck's sake, people with the animals, okay? I understand your commitment and your mission and your compassion and love towards animals, but why don't you take that out into the general public and educate them? If you feel that private businesses cannot sell puppies, whatever, the puppy mill thing, whatever, I get some of that, but we don't need government to pass any more effing ordinances. If people are too effing stupid to figure out how to buy dogs and cats, and they need government to do that, could you spell out we're doomed? Why can't you just take your compassion and get your ass out here and go rescue all these puppies being born on the streets out here? Because that's an issue I can't even touch. I've got to pick humans over animals when it comes out to being on the streets out here. You should see the bullshit that goes on with some not very good people out here breeding dogs out here on the streets, not caring for them properly, and then making money off of puppies. Yeah, it's really happening. But let's go beg government to pass an ordinance to double down on private business. And it's only cats and dogs. We're not going to talk about exotic birds. There's an exotic bird store here in Englewood. that specifically, I think, from what I know about this business, left Denver to come try to do business in Englewood. Okay. They're going to hit them next because they're not going to be happy with just cats and dogs. So don't give me that shit. You've got Petco. You've got PetSmart. They sell all kinds of animals, guinea pigs, fish, lots of fish. Do you know what a problem it is with buying healthy fish? But I'm a very educated consumer. You see, so I know exactly what businesses to support and what not to support. And I figured that out all on my own. I have no idea how I did that. So when you think these little things are just fitting your little agenda, don't get pissed off when government takes it to the next step and now it's encroaching on things that you didn't like. Because that's what happens every time you beg government for intervention. So take your message to the people and go educate the people. So, all right. Did, yeah, Bokomo, she posted the link to that article. You guys, just scroll up in the comments. If you have not at least bookmarked that link on this story that the Englewood Herald did on Cheryl Wink, you need to. You've got to go read it. Right there is kind of the nutshell of the mentality of this Englewood City Council. In the majority. So we'll see where the outcome of the unauthorized practice of law investigation is going to lead here pretty soon. Hopefully, maybe by the end of the month. We'll see. So I'm going to go. You guys, thank you for being in here. I really appreciate you all being in here and hanging out for this long. Stacy, thank you very, very much. And we'll just continue to do what we do as long as we can do it until the day that I just can't do it anymore. So, all right, you guys, thank you very much. Have a good night. Thanks for being in here. Mods, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye. Mwah.